Good morning, everyone. It is finally Friday. Thanks for joining us on the show this morning. We have an exciting show today. First up, we have Renee here, and she is going to teach us how to mix up some drinks, some yummy, looks like some Tequila Rose. I mean, we're going to use some different things, and also get prepared for March Madness, which is coming up, and some drinks that you might like, sportier drinks that you might like for those guys out there. I am excited to be here with you all this Friday. I want to say thank you to our sponsors of the show, R7, just up the hill. They're open this weekend, so go visit them. Also, Lutheran Living, CBI, Toyota Muscatine, and of course Hy-Vee for sponsoring the show, making it possible for us to bring you some good Muscatine news every day. So we are here first with Renee, and you're with Southern Glazers.
Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits.
Yes. And so you guys are a distributor for Hy-Vee Wine and Spirits, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so she is here to help us learn how to mix up some yummy drinks.
Yeah, have some good cocktails at home, and also everything is very budget friendly that we have over in the Wine and Spirits currently. So
awesome.
Everything on the table is actually going to be under $24.99 and less. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
So it's a really budget friendly. Take to your, if you're staying home, you know, you can have a cocktail and keep a budget.
Yeah. So what are we going to make first?
Okay, so we'll start with the sweetest, which is going to be what we have on this poster, Tequila Rose, which I know a lot of people are familiar with, and it's been around.
Yeah.
Quick little note, actually, when the bottle gets cold, as you can see on here, it's white, but it actually turns pink, so that's how you know your product is cold. So it's just a nice, cool marketing that the company has done. So this is a very easy, low ABV product, and we're going to talk about doing a chocolate covered strawberry martini. So you basically do 1.5 ounces of the double chocolate vodka, and then 2 ounces of the Tequila Rose. All you do is you put it in a shaker with ice, you shake it up, you pour it, you can garnish with a strawberry. It's basically like chocolate strawberry milk, but it's very easy. It's good for baby showers.
Yeah,
for
it's pretty.
Treating, you know, the mom after a long work day.
Yeah.
And it's pretty, obviously, and it's very Instagrammable for anyone that, you know, might like to post and stay up with the millennials, I guess you could say.
Yep. Cool. That one's pretty.
Yes, it's very pretty. And then we do have this on sale right now for, or Hy-Vee does, for $19.99. So, and this is going to be around $12.99 a bottle. So it's very, very cost effective.
Yeah.
And you can use for other drinks as the seasons go on.
Yep.
The next one is going to be Black Velvet Apple. So everyone's aware of what Black Velvet is in the state of Iowa, I believe. Yeah. But this is going to be their newest flavor.
Apple.
Yeah, apple's a very trendy flavor happening with a lot of different whiskeys. So the easiest one we're going to talk about just kind of is you taking Black Velvet Apple, doing 1 or 2 ounces depending on how strong you want it, doing ginger beer, and then just doing lime with it. You can garnish with a lime or even like an apple slice to make it look fancy, or however you like. You don't have to put it in a Moscow Mule glass if you don't want. You can always just use a regular glass, but obviously everyone enjoys having a
they look really
yes,
cool,
who doesn't like that, and who doesn't like having a pretty drink, especially if you're going to try to make it at home. You can also request this at any of the local bars, and this is available for them. So
yeah, that's awesome.
A fun, kind of sporty type drink with, you know,
March Madness coming up.
Yes. Lastly, this is going to be, it's not new, but it's a very well-desired drink for anyone that likes rum and coke. So Bacardi Spice, which is kind of similar to Captain Morgan. It's another branch in the spiced rum category. This is going to be a really easy mix with Coke Zero. My favorite to do with it is you take Bacardi and you just fill a glass with ice. You put 1.5 ounces of Bacardi in it, and then you pour pineapple juice in it. You mix it up, and then you garnish with like a pineapple slice. You can put a little bit of lime juice if you want to offset some of the sweetness, obviously.
Yeah.
And it looks very tropical. It's easy, and it's you can kind of count the calories if you're watching your weight. So.
Yeah. Awesome. So there are a few different choices depending on what you kind of like.
Rum, whiskey,
or,
something very sweet, whatever you like.
Yeah, that's awesome. So a few different things, few options for you. All of these things are available over in Wine and Spirits, obviously. Some of them are on sale. Did you say how much is this one? Do you remember?
I think this is $24.99 or less, and this is going to be $19.99.
Yep. Awesome. So lots of great options for March Madness, or if you want to spoil your lady. make her a pretty drink after work. I'm sure you guys are all planning on doing that because it's Friday. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us. I hope you'll come back.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Yeah. So we're going to go quickly to the aisle cam, and then we'll have our next guest on. Stephanie is here to talk. This weekend is actually Rare Disease Day, and she's going to talk a little bit about her experience, and we will be right back from the aisle cam to get into that.
I'll go get the cart to get. Okay. It's fine. It's not like playing sports. Stiff. That was so much easier. You look like you've lost weight. Good for you. Thank you.
Yep. All right, we're back, and we're here with my friend Stephanie. I had to persuade her to come on, but this weekend is Rare Disease Day. It's actually on Sunday, so I invited her to come on and talk a little bit about her experience. I think we hear a lot about like cancer and all of the different things that people go through with that, and so I wanted to take a minute today to talk about this and to bring awareness that this stuff goes on. People in our own community are going through stuff like this, and I mean there are a ton of different things with rare disease, obviously, but tell us a little bit about your experience and what you have and kind of how that story began.
Okay, well, first of all, I guess my disease is called Dirkham Disease. Apparently, it started back in 1880 by Dr. Dirkham. I was personally diagnosed with it, I think would have been 3 years ago now. I started having symptoms when I was 30. I was in and out of ERs with stomach pains and going in and out of doctors. They did exploratory surgery. And in that exploratory surgery, they ended up removing like 3 of my tumors, and then, which are benign. And then my stepmom actually did a bunch of research and found this disease, and we kind of started pursuing it. And I got an appointment with the only doctor in the U.S. who is currently in California but was in Arizona. And I got an appointment with her.
And that was kind of a long process to get an appointment with her and be able to go see, it's crazy. I mean, we're so blessed to have the university right here, but still, I mean, even with that, even with a huge university hospital like that, there was still no one that specialized in this besides her.
Nope, I was seeing an oncologist actually when initially at the university for all of my tumors.
So tell everybody like what kind of symptoms I know you said stomach pain, but what kind of symptoms come with Dirkham's?
So I have I just have a bunch of tumors inside of my body, fatty tumors, and if you push on them or if I overexert myself with like physical activity or anything like that, I am in a lot of pain. If I do too much physical activity, it'll actually make me physically sick. So a learning curve throughout the whole thing has been I can't work out like a full body day. You know, most people can go do a leg and arm day in the same day or do a full body workout. I could either walk or do an arm workout day. I can't do both in the same day, or else I feel like I'm going to throw up by the end of it. And
So throughout this, I know that you've done a lot of research on your own, and you're involved in support groups and things like that online to kind of just learn more about it, and also just have the support of other people who get what you're going through, because I can only assume with like a rare disease like that, people just don't understand.
Very true.
They don't understand what you're going through. They can't see, you know, that something's wrong with you.
Well, as a matter of fact, one of the first ER doctors I went to go see told me it was all in my head.
Yeah.
He's like, you need to go out and get some exercise. And I'm just like, well, I'm trying to tell you, it hurts.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That has to be super frustrating to just be wanting answers, to be in pain, and just to continue to go back and have no answers.
Yes, very, very, very.
I mean, my experience obviously in my illness was different, but it's like the waiting game's horrible with that. So I can only imagine like the waiting game of they don't even know what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
You know, they can't like, well, you're a mystery, you know, like I have no idea what's going on, and then send you home like with pain meds or whatever that day. But
oh yeah, they sent me home with a lot of hydrocodone. I had a lot of that, and because they didn't have any answers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you mentioned like through like your learning curve. So what things have you found, I mean, other than the workouts that kind of help you through your disease and help you kind of coping?
Food is a big thing. So not eating like pasta and breads and stuff like that help a lot. There's a diet called the Rad Diet that they recommend people to go on who have Dirkham disease. It is cutting out a lot of food. No sugars, no red meat, like anything that's no dairy, anything.
What do you eat?
Exactly. Well, obviously,
Right.
I still eat all of that, but
Yeah.
that is the recommendation.
Yeah.
That you're supposed to go on that diet. But it does help. I do some of it, and it does help a lot.
Yeah.
So
how about, I always like to talk about like when you get a diagnosis or when you're going through something, a lot of times that means your family's also going through it, your friends are going through it. So what experiences have you had like on that side of it, like your family, and you know, how do they kind of cope with it and help you out and stuff?
Well, you know, this whole time that I've had it, I've been working for Dad, and he was awesome. He was awesome through all of this. In the very beginning, I was in and out of work a lot because I felt just awful. And I didn't know what was going on or how to take care of it. And he was very understanding and let me take some time off of work, probably more than I should have. But that was very fortunate for me. Really, now nothing has been affected. In the very beginning, you know, it was very hard. It was a big struggle. But now that we've all kind of gotten used to it, it's more of like an everyday thing. I'll have my bad days, but I'll still go to work. Yeah. And they just know kind of to leave me alone because I'm not in a good mood. But
like, she's having a bad day, and
today is not her day.
That's important for people to realize around you that it's hard. Like when you can't see somebody, oh, well, she has a broken leg, of course she's in pain, or oh, you know, like you can't see somebody's, I guess it's not a broken bone, it's not something that you can see, and so people don't understand that you can still be in a lot of pain and a lot of things can go on inside that you can't see that, you know, I mean, for sure, make you miserable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just emotionally sometimes, I'm sure, just kind of it gets overwhelming.
Very, yeah. I have to have a few breakdowns every year
yeah.
about it.
Well,
for sure.
I mean, going from just knowing you, like being a super active person and all of that stuff, getting used to like still staying active enough, but not pushing the limits too much to where you're going to get sick. That's been kind of like a struggle, like a teeter-totter, like, okay, well, kind of figuring out
the hardest part.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Changing your diet and just your general like exercise and things like that's huge. I mean, it's like going on a diet. You know, you're just changing everything about what you do in your daily life. So I'm sure. Well, I know that's been a struggle.
Yes.
For this disease. It's just getting used to it, getting on a routine, finding out what works for you.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing with this is I've read a little bit about it and stuff, and a lot of people said like, well, this works for me. But then somebody was like, whoa, well, that didn't work for me. You know, It's finding a balance of what actually works for you. So
yeah, I can't speak for everybody with the disease for sure. I'm just speaking for what works for me personally, and hopefully it'll help someone else figure it out.
So moving forward, like what does it look like? Do you have to see the doctor on a regular basis? Do you go once a year, every 6 months? What kind of is the schedule, or how do you stay up?
So with the doctor being in Arizona and in California, and now in California, I'm only supposed to go once a year. I see her once a year, and I usually actually see her for about an hour and a half. We sit there and talk about the stuff that I've been going through. She fills all my new lumps, so on and so forth.
So do you know like about how many lumps you like have that you can feel? I mean, I know some of them you can't even feel. But
I don't. I mean, I'd be surprised if I didn't have over 100.
Yeah.
I have a lot. And just my midsection alone, I have quite a bit. So I've had a few removed over the last couple of years because they've been problematic. They do have to put me out. I'm not able to, like normal fatty lipomas, they would cut you open and just numb the area. They're not able to do that with mine. They actually have to put me to sleep and cut them out because they attach to stuff.
So the only time you have to get them removed is if they're like causing issues, like causing more pain, or they attach to something that they shouldn't be attached, you know, like, so with this disease, you can have, like she said, she has like probably over 100, but only some of those are like problematic in the fact that you have to get them, like removed.
Correct. Yes.
So.
Yeah, like the one on my back that I had a couple years ago, if I were doing the dishes, I was in pain.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I guess today I really wanted you to come on just to like talk about, your experience and to kind of make people aware that we can't always see what someone's going through. And, with rare diseases, so many people aren't even aware that it's a thing. I remember the first time that you told me about it, I'm like, what? Like, I've never heard of that in my life. And it's obvious. I mean, this is the only doctor in the United States that even knows anything about it, like specializes in it. So have you ever talked to her? Is anyone else trying to specialize in it? Is just no one knows enough about it?
I mean, I've read a little about a guy in New York who is starting to do a little bit more research on it. She's Karen Herbst is her name, Dr. Karen Herbst, and she's the one that does a lot of the research. And as a matter of fact, now on NORDS, which is what is the name for that? National Organization for Rare Disease. On that website, they use her studies. So she's done a lot of research just in the last 5 years. So 5 years ago, when you got on there and you'd look up like the people who are more likely to get it, let's just say for instance, it said postmenopausal women. Now when you go on NORDS and you look it up, she's corrected that and said, the average age is 34-year-old women. Men can get it, but it's more likely in women than it is in men. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, thank God for her and her research and stuff, because it seems like she's finding out a lot about it. It's something that people really didn't recognize before, didn't know it was a thing. I mean, obviously, when you went to the doctor and people didn't, they're like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on,
For sure.
And to have a doctor tell you that is got to be pretty overwhelming.
To say the least.
Frustrating. Pisses you off. I don't know. Whatever.
It's definitely hard.
Yes.
Definitely hard.
So yeah, I'm glad that you came on to talk about this. There are hundreds of other rare diseases out there that we could probably schedule the next year with somebody coming on every day. But I guess today I just encourage everyone to kind of go out and research a little bit. If you have a coworker, a friend, or somebody who's going through something similar, find out a little bit more about it and be supportive, because you can't always see it.
Very true. Yes.
So thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. I know you love being in the spotlight. So
it's my favorite.
It's her favorite, but that's what friends do.
Yes, I'm here for you.
Thank you. But I hope you guys all learned something today. Maybe, look up Dirkham's even. Just maybe that's step one, is to look up the disease that she's going through, knowing that someone in our community is going through it. And I know, like, with the support groups that you've said, I mean, there are so many people with it that, we don't even know.
No. So, yeah, I've connected with a girl over in Liverpool who has it. She got it in her 20s, actually. She had 4 kids and ended up having it. I've connected with quite a few people all over the world with it. On Facebook, they have a very good program, or a very good,
support group?
Yeah, support group on there. My recommendation is, if you want to do any sort of donations or anything, would be to donate to NORDS, because that would be a very good, that would be a good spot to start.
Yeah. As you can imagine, people are still learning about cancer and, you know, some of those things. So with a rare disease, it's so important that we support those groups who are learning. I mean, just what she's learned in the last 5 years is life-changing for people. You know, learning things about the diet and what can make the disease better and make symptoms a little less. So if you, like Stephanie said, if you want to make a donation and continue that research, that would be a great place to do it. We can actually link that in the comments so you guys can kind of see, and also do some research on that site and see, you know, what information you can find. It would be a good resource that is true information.
Yes.
That's another thing, weeding through what is true and untrue when you're trying to find out more about something you're going through. So thanks for coming on. I appreciate it, Steph.
No problem. Yeah.
All right, so we will go quickly to the aisle cam again, let Steph off the show so she's not in the spotlight anymore, and I'll be right back to finish up.
Can I go now? I didn't know you played. Again, I hope that you will all go out, find out some more information about Dirkham's, about other rare diseases, and you know, use this weekend to kind of do some research and find out more about that. Today's national days for today are Letter to an Elder Day. So I was thinking, like, how cool would it be for us all to write a little letter or make a card, or even come to Hy-Vee, purchase a card and write a little note and send that out to some of the nursing homes, things like that, just to kind of celebrate that National Elder Day. It's also National Pistachio Day, and I am not a fan of pistachios. I can't eat nuts anyways, but they've always been very weird to me. I don't understand. But I have a lot of family who love pistachios, so they'll be able to celebrate for me today. Also, our friends at Lutheran Living every day, they sponsor this day in history. And I was looking through, and the other day I did the tallest man in the world. And today is actually, so Pauline Musters, she was born February 26, 1876, and she was the world's shortest adult. She was 24 inches tall at age 19. And so I wanted to just do a little representation. So let's see. So how tall are each one of these cans, Chris?
About 4 inches, or 4 inches and a quarter or so.
So we need all of these to...
Yes, I do believe.
So this, I'm going to show you how tall she was. We actually, I think, have a picture too that we can show you in a minute. This is how tall she was at 19. That's nuts. That's like the size of a toddler, like a small toddler. So that was Pauline Musters, and she was the world's shortest woman, shortest person, actually. So we also, I think, Jess, do you have the picture of her standing next to another adult that we can pull up? Yeah, crazy. That's just like a average size adult, and she was 19 in that photo. So pretty cool, this day in history, sponsored by Lutheran Living. So I am so glad that you guys joined us on the show. It's finally Friday, so just a little bit of that work week left. I hope you guys will all enjoy your weekend. The sun is out and shining again today, so that's good news. We have a ton of great guests next week, so I hope that you will definitely join us for that. And I would like to remind you that kindness is free, so spread that stuff wherever you go.
TJ Deere here at Toyota Muscatine, and this is what it feels like to have a brand new Toyota.
It's the new car smell.
It's the new stories.
It's the new adventure. It's the memories.
Come and see us for your 2020 Toyota.